All right. All right, Audsie, this mic is all yours.
Okay, good morning. I had extra sleep in this morning, so I missed some of the programming today again, but that's okay because sometimes I need this sleep thing, I guess. It's part of what the body needs. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I'm gonna just start reading today from John Mundy's course in Mysticism and Miracles, Begin Your Spiritual Adventure. And we are in chapter 11, The Miracle of Suffering, which sounds great. The Miracle of Suffering. And we're in the section Implosion. And I'm just going to start reading at my point here. It's on page 150. To get out of the quagmire of despair and depression, you must first admit that you are not happy. For despair and depression to lead to awakening, you must go all the way with the experience. You can't merely be on your way to bottoming out. You can't be in a state of high nervous anxiety. You've got to hit bottom. Only when all ego strategies fail in the face of overwhelming misfortune will you have a chance to see the light. Osho says, if I were to make a religion, this would be a basic thing in it, that anybody who becomes enlightened first will have to go through a nervous breakdown. Only then will we have a breakthrough. Wow, really? Do we have to have that belief that we have to have a nervous breakdown to have a breakthrough? Well, I feel like that's where some of my breakthroughs have come through. But sometimes it doesn't seem like a complete breakdown, and I still seem to have a breakthrough. So maybe this is pertaining to the one that really shakes the core, that the one where you really see that you're watching things happening, and then the question comes, who's the watcher? So I think you could have a breakdown, nervous breakdown, or maybe you could also get here through inquiry, possibly. I don't know. Does anybody have any comments on that? That the quote of Osho, that if he made a religion, that he would have in it anybody who becomes enlightened first will have to go through a nervous breakdown. Only then will we have a breakthrough. No comments? All right. Okay.
What was the question, Audsie?
I'm just wondering what people think of that. Do you agree with that? That before enlightenment, you have to have like a breakdown. Like you got to break down before you can have a breakthrough.
I think that you can say that usually, but I don't think there's a rule you have to have a breakdown. I don't think so.
Yeah. Anyway, we all have our own perceptions and commenting, and I don't think that if something says something, that's the way it is, because the world, I mean, it's an interpretation. So anyway, I'm just gonna go on. So,
Yeah, I think that everyone's different, and I think that everyone's experience is different. So some people may, and others may not. So I don't think it's not necessarily, but yeah, for others it may be. So I think it's an individual experience.
yeah, so already Osho's religion having that one basic thing in it, I don't Well, that already, to me, it's not, that's what religion is. You're putting these ideas that are like, this is a big statement. It's like, what if some people are, what about the people that perceive they're happy and they never have a moment where they're, I don't know. Who cares? Why am I going down a rabbit hole with this, Audrey? Let's go on. Maybe it'll get clearer. So the mystical experience occurs when we let go of our attempts to control. Well, there it is. That's what it is. Letting go of that. Because I can feel something still holding on in moments of just it's hard to describe, but I went out for dinner last night and it was our 20th anniversary, and our friends also got married on the same day, and yesterday was their 31st anniversary. And yeah, I was talking to my friend and I was just being really honest about like what I believed and what I thought. And she's like, well, you're not crazy, Audrey, but she suggested inpatient therapy. So I think she thought I was a little Lulu, but I mean, who knows? Who knows? It's just, I think she's really worried about me. And it's like, but why? I'm so happy. I feel so good and I'm happy. But I think it's because whatever she's seen in her experience. So it's very interesting. Where I was going with that. Letting attempts to control, yeah. Crashing and burning stop the wandering mind. And force us into the present. Maybe that's more for people who don't even see shattering happening, or don't even have that experience of the fact that there is a voice in the mind. Maybe that's what it's more about. Red Wade.
Yeah, I think maybe first of all, Osho tends to be a little bit tongue in cheek sometimes, almost like he deliberately tries to be provocative. But one of the things he might be saying is that it's almost as if it's similar to when we say that there has to be a better way. It almost seems to be like he's saying that to get to enlightenment, you have to get to a place where you have nowhere else to go, and you break down completely, and you have nowhere else to go but to enlightenment. And it could be what he's getting at, that he's saying similar to when we say you know nowhere else to go but up. No
Right.
atheist.
Yeah.
Maybe he might be getting at that. That's sort of how I would, if I had to justify it. That's how I would say it.
Oh, thank you. I think maybe that helps me because maybe he is being more tongue in cheek here. Because Osho saying if I were to make a religion, that's already kind of funny, isn't it? Like, I don't think he would ever make a religion. The whole point is of a mystic and all that is you're not really into religion per se. Yeah, thank you, Redway. But yeah, and then this point too, when you crash and burn, stops that wandering mind and forces us into the present, like you say. If you hit the bottom, you can only look up and go up, and then from there have that experience of God, of Source, of Jesus, of Holy Spirit, however you want to name the entity, or noumenon, as some Helen Hamilton calls it. The noumenon instead of the phenomenon. It's the noumenon that is all, everything, encompasses the all. Crashing and burning stop the wandering mind and force us into the present. Once we surrender to what is, once we turn everything over to a power higher than the ego mind, something remarkable happens. Well, this is awesome. I love this because years ago, I tried to go to AA meetings and I had the book and I was trying to go through AA because of my excessive drinking. And I couldn't get past that first step with AA, surrendering over to a higher power, admitting that we're powerless and we have to, I don't know if somebody knows the first step, they could say it so that I'm not just mumbling. Does anybody know the first step of AA?
Admitting that you're powerless over alcohol and your life has become unmanageable.
Thank you. So I couldn't even do that because I believed I was the one who, like, I believed I was Jesus, like the Audrey character was the God, Jesus. That's what I think my mind thought. So I couldn't get past that. I had to release anything over to a God because I was in charge of it. Like, and then I couldn't say that it made my life unmanageable because I was functional. I had a job. There were maybe some problems, but I just couldn't do it. And when I went into the AA meetings, and people went up and just were talking about their past experiences and some of them are pretty horrid, and I never shared anything of mine because I was like, I don't want to talk about it because then it brought it up again and I didn't want to have to feel it again, and I didn't want to deal with it. So why would I want to talk about it at every meeting? Like, this is ridiculous. I'm stuck in the past of it and I couldn't get past it. So I just left it but I still was willing to see that, like, there has to be a better way. So that's what brought me to A Course in Miracles, because I was like, okay, there has to be a better way. And so there was my entry into A Course in Miracles. Karen, please.
Thanks for sharing that, Audrey. I think that's interesting. AA is not for everyone, and they talk about in AA the self-will run riot, and it is not easy for an alcoholic or anyone with an ego to admit they're powerless over anything, especially if I think I can still control it, but I can understand how you would feel that way. And I think it's great that you found A Course in Miracles because there has got to be a better way. This is what worked for you, and this is perfect. And I'm so happy that you found A Course in Miracles.
Thank you so much, Karen. Well, it's interesting because what I also, like, we had wine last night and I had one glass of wine and drank it with my meal and everything. And in the past, when I drank alcohol every day and to excess, my mind would just be on the wine all the time. Not even, it would just be there. When am I gonna get another glass? Like, do we get another bottle? Like, it would just have all these things happening. Not once did I hear any of that. I don't crave it. I cannot finish a glass of wine. It doesn't matter, because what I realized was, I didn't realize anything. I'm just now on a new drug. I'm not on alcohol. I'm taking a prescription drug, which has seemed to fix whatever the brain thing, the little short circuit thing that was happening. So, and that's for ADHD. So it's almost, which is kind of like, the way my psychiatrist explained it to me was that it's like cocaine in a pill, because the brain needs stimulation. My brain needs a stimulant. So I have now, since being on this medication because that was 50 years old. I'm now 52. I'm still trying to figure things out. So that's what we were talking about last night, my friend and I think maybe through whatever I expressed to her, it probably brought up fear in her, and that's what maybe scared her too. But I'm not scared, and I'm not unhappy, and I'm nothing. So, but I am gonna listen to what she said and look into it, because who knows? Maybe I'm supposed to do that, because everything's magic. I don't care that I'm taking it now, but I did at first, so it was a good lesson. Anyway, sorry about that. Karen, please.
Do you think you were maybe self-medicating with the alcohol?
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I had to shut
Yeah.
off all the stuff that was happening in my
Yeah.
brain. It was the only way for me to function.
Yeah,
Because
I
my
think,
brain was just like, I couldn't believe it. It was so full. It was never, there was sometimes music playing, lots of talking, lots of storylines. Like I was exhausted all the time. No wonder I used to fall asleep driving, even in the city. I couldn't drive.
yeah,
I'd
because
fall asleep.
alcohol is a depressant and you're on a stimulant. There's two different worlds. And I'm so happy that you found a medication that works for you, Audsie. That's a wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Because after being on the meds, then I could start applying the tools. All the lessons and all the stuff I was doing, even though it was through this spiritual ego thing, it still has benefited me, because it comes up, like even something simple like my counter being cluttered. And it used to really bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore, but I look at it when it's time that it's going to get cleaned up. Like the other day, I looked at it and I'm just like, I don't know where to start. And then in my head, I just talked to myself. Okay, well, pick one thing, I said. Well, I didn't know what to pick. That was where this paralysis was. I couldn't pick one thing. Pick one thing, my friend told me, because her son's ADHD. So when he was young, she used to say to him, go pick up your socks, put them in giving him direct things. And I'm really good with direct directions. But if you just tell me, make this or pick one thing, I would just get so panicked before the meds that I couldn't even see anything. But now I can hear a conversation that's clear without other conversations and music and all this. So I'm listening, and then all of a sudden my mind is shown the counter, and it splits in half, and then showing me just do half of it. Even if you moved all the things to the other half, just wiped it off, that's good enough. And then I just started on one half. And I did half, and then I went and did something else, and then I finished the counter. It was this paralysis right at that start that I couldn't get past before the meds. But so yeah, the alcohol, I would drink, and then I was able to do things and focus better. So thank you, Karen.
Yeah, I think magic is wonderful. I think magic is for, we all know that it's not going to heal the mind, but it's there to help us get through sometimes the body goes through certain conditions that are, like ADHD is one. My daughter has it too. It's pretty serious. She has severe ADHD, and it's a game changer, and if you're not on the right medications, it's very difficult to function in this world. So I think magic is wonderful, and I think it's great that you found one that works for you, because some people have to go through a lot of trial and error before they find one. So that's just such an awesome story. So I 100% believe in magic. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you, Karen. I really appreciate it from that perspective. I mean, I didn't even realize that's what was happening. I was just crying out all my life, crying out like, what the hell? I don't belong. And then when I was young, I got, when I was young and I was just like, I just want to die. I wasn't depressed. I was just like, this fucking world is stupid. Like, I can't even, I had all these ways of coping that I couldn't even use. They were all right there. I couldn't touch them. It was like maddening. And I'm just grateful for all the experience to see, to really see. And thank you. I feel very I just feel that being truthful about all that and stuff is important for the path here and just to move forward on that. So thank you so much, Karen. And Rev Wayne, please.
One of the things I think is also might be helpful. It's helpful to me. I've taken a lot of medicine, obviously, and I've taken a lot for a long time. And one of the things I've realized when it comes to magic is that we tend to focus, for some reason, on the harsher stuff and get guilty over that, and we don't care about all the magic that we're using on a regular basis. I mean, clothing is magic that we use to keep warm. Glasses are magic that we use to see with. Gloves are magic that we use to keep the cold off our hands. Shoes are magic to keep our feet from getting hurt. Everything that we do in this world is magic. We don't care about any of that. But the minute we get sick and then really it's hard, that's a different magic when we use it for the stuff like your ADHD and bipolar. That stuff's pretty difficult. That's very hard. And for us to get down on ourselves because we're taking medicine for that, but we don't care about the other stuff that's much easier to handle. That's typical of the ego to make you get down on when it's really hard to make you get down on yourself, and then look away from all the other stuff that we probably could work on if we really meant it, if we weren't being captured by the ego, it's being used to make it by the ego to get ourselves all depressed and down. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty easy just to kind of look at your life and say, where am I using magic that I'm not even seeing myself use it, and I'm gonna give up my case up, beating myself up for not being able to just stop all the medicine on a heartbeat and get down on myself for no reason.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I just was like, wow. That's so true because look, like clothing, this body is the first magic. And then, you just treat yourself like shit. I treat myself like shit because of it, the alcohol at first and just all that. And that was good. Thanks, Ripley. I felt that one. All of this is good. It's like a big virtual hug. Breathing is magic. No kidding, hey. Oh, wow. Oh, that was great. All right, let's just finish this chapter here, or paragraph. Once we surrender to what is, once we turn everything over to a power higher than the ego mind, something remarkable happens. There comes the experience of grace. Love floods in when we stop choosing the ego. Then, despite the seeming severity of our situation, we are okay. Everything is taken care of, even if we don't understand how it's happening. We can then rest in the arms of God. Yeah. I had that experience the other day too. We can then rest in the arms of God rather than trying to manipulate our experience. The Course describes the transition like this. You can temporize, and you are capable of enormous procrastination, but you cannot depart entirely from your Creator, who sets the limits on your ability to miscreate. Tolerance for pain may be high, but it is not without limit. Eventually, everyone begins to recognize however dimly, that there must be a better way. As this recognition becomes more firmly established, it becomes a turning point. This ultimately reawakens spiritual vision, simultaneously weakening the investment in physical sight. And that's from the text, chapter 2, paragraph 3. We usually come to the point of crashing and burning after having first tried many things that proved unsatisfactory. Here we go. Pick an illusion: politics, fame, power, authority, drugs, alcohol, or wealth. One will serve as well or as poorly as another. An illusion is an illusion is an illusion. And eventually all illusory paths come to despair and inevitably surrender. Forward and back from the text, chapter 18, the last sentence for today from me. Some of your greatest advances you have judged as failures, and some of your deepest retreats you have evaluated as success. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Have an awesome weekend. I appreciate this space.
Thank you so much, Audsie, and thank you everyone who joined in. I'm so grateful for you, and just love you. Love you, love you, love you. And you are all right by me, believe me. Yeah, we have a lot of that ADHD going on over here too. So